Hi, my name is John.
And my name is Lloyd.
And we're the hosts of The Pint,
a pop culture podcast.
Lloyd, if you had to tell any of the people out there that might be listening to The Pint for the first time about anything unsavory or disconcerting we might do on the show, what would you warn them about?
Well, sometimes we drop spoilers, and sometimes we swear like motherfucking sailors.
Fuck yeah, we do. You heard it from him. You've been warned.
Listen in.
In a nuke fight anyway. All you gotta do is push a button. Sir?
Ceasefire! Train on that wall, Trooper.
All right, everybody, welcome back to a brand new episode of The Pint. Movies, music, TV, comic books, gaming. It all fits in The Pint. That's a brand new slogan. I made it up right then and there. I think that fits. Today, we are going to be talking about another movie with an anniversary. This one is 25 years. We're going to be talking about the 1997 Paul Verhoeven Nazis in space, maybe? I don't know. Are they Nazis? Are they not Nazis? Starship Troopers. With me tonight for the first time ever from a very popular, very energetic show, maybe the most energetic theme song I've ever heard before. It's Montego from Fans on Patrol. And that is you, man. You were like singing that song.
What's up, man? Yeah, you should. That song got a good story, man, because when I was recording, my daughters were like, younger, and they were like in the room with me and just looking at me like they were just like so embarrassed. They was like, please don't put that out there. And I'm hollering, and it's just, so every time I hear that song, I think about the look on their face, the disappointment, the sorrow. Thanks a lot for having me on the show though, man. I really appreciate it.
Dude, thank you so much for coming on straight from Cleveland, Ohio.
Oh, yeah.
What's going on in Cleveland nowadays? What's good out there?
Well, our basketball team is finally starting to look a little better. The Browns have been playing a little better, and I don't care about any of it. I gave up my season tickets this season. This is my last season for the Cavs, and so I don't know, man. The weather's getting better, so that's what's looking good. That's about it.
That's fair. I'm in Connecticut, and 1995, I went to Cleveland twice in 1 year. I'd never been there before. I went there to see a Red Sox Indians game at Jacobs Field in September. And it was I think at that time, Cleveland might have been either going into the playoffs for the first time. It was insane. It was like the city was like fucking insanity. And then 2 months later, me and my friends went back because the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame opened. And I got to be honest, man, I loved Cleveland. I thought it was an awesome town. It was just, here in New England, we don't really have big cities like that. We got Hartford, and that's like nothing. You know what I mean? So it was really cool to be in this city. Oh, and we also went to the second trip, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame trip. We went to one of the last Browns games ever before they became the Ravens. The mayor, someone was handing out leaflets from the mayor asking people not to like destroy shit. Yeah. I still have mine. It said like, it basically said something like our ability to get an NFL franchise in the future depends on your behavior today. I'm like, this is crazy.
It didn't work because that last game, dude, they were like literally taking rows of seats, running down the street with them out of the damn stadium. I'll never forget that. It was total nuts. But the city actually started turning around from at that time. And unfortunately, it's so silly to me. It's only because of the sports franchise. The sports do good, the city does better. The sports doesn't do good, everything goes to hell. So it's the weirdest, stupidest thing. But, I've been living here. I like the weather, unlike a lot of people. So it works for me.
All right, that's fair. So Fans on Patrol, tell everybody out there all about your show. And Jesus Christ, you're at 360 episodes at this point?
381, man. We've been around for a little bit of time. And if you like this show, if you like what's your new name, man? I don't want to say the
Pint. The Pint.
The Pint. Okay, right. So the shows are very similar, man. Two friends get together, we sit around and we talk about nerd stuff. Only thing that's different about us is that we segment stuff. We do a little nerd news. We play. We love to play like games, on online and stuff like that. And then we'll throw in the main topic and whatever it might be, like Starship Troopers, and we'll analyze it very similar to you guys. So, you like this show, you like our show. We have fansonpatrol.com and anything on social media, Fans on Patrol.
Yep, I have checked it out. You guys, the way you kind of are set up, remind me of our mutual friend So Wizard, where you have the news, and then getting into the reviews and all that stuff too. So all good stuff. So tonight, I don't remember if I gave you an option of movies or not, but I said let's go with a year and let's pick something out. And I think you guys threw Starship Troopers back at me.
You gave us some years, and that was interesting. And so then I was like, because at first I didn't know what you meant, and then I started looking, and I was like, it was so much that has anniversaries this year. So we were wide open to pick anything we wanted pretty much.
Yep.
Man. I couldn't believe how many anniversaries, 10-year, 5-year, 25-year, whatever that was available. So I picked Starship Troopers, man. Tiff didn't have a choice, and she couldn't be here tonight. So
we'll have her come back and she can pick the next one.
Oh, you don't want that. It'll be artsy fartsy crazy. Tiff don't pick most of the movies on our show, man, because I don't want to sit around and go to the to the foo movie theater.
You don't got 3 hours to go to the art house cinema. Yeah, I get that.
Yeah, god dang, all right. Stay the hell out of there. We'll watch some good movies.
All right, so a real quick question. We kind of like to ask people questions to gauge their personalities. They're always very lighthearted. So you've never been on before, and most of these questions, I got to admit, they're food related. So I'm just going to ask you one today, and I want you to rank them top to bottom, what you want the most to what you want the least, or least to most, whichever way you want to go.
Got it.
Waffles, French toast, or pancakes? Where are you going, man?
I think I'm a French toast person. I like the French toast, and the waffles is at the bottom. That's for sure, man. I love French toast. I'm too fat to eat that kind of food. I got to stay away from it now and stuff. But if I had my choice of those three, there you go. That's how I would roll it down. Mm-hmm.
All right. And I like to ask too, when someone's from a specific area, is there a specific Cleveland food that's popular out there that I don't know about that I gotta look into? Is if you go down to New Orleans, there's po' boys, everywhere's got something. Is there something in Cleveland that screams Cleveland?
Well, Cleveland tries to claim the po' boy, believe it or not.
Really?
They do. They try to claim the po' boy. And Cleveland probably has the most unpersonality food. There's no submarine sandwiches here. There's no, Phillies. There's no pizza. There's nothing that really makes us famous. And somebody told me that po' boys started in Cleveland. And so I think that might be true. So other than that, who knows? But no, we don't have no personality like that. We 1 second better than where my co-host comes from. That's Iowa. They have nothing. So we got a little bit of something.
Corn, right? Is that they got corn out there, right? I mean, at least they're known for.
The whole nation has corn. Just because they claim corn doesn't mean it's theirs.
All right. That's fair. Yeah, they don't make any special corn. They just make a lot of corn.
It's just some damn corn growing in the field.
All right, let's get into Starship Troopers.
All right,
it came out on November 7th of 1997, directed by Paul Verhoeven. He made RoboCop, and about 5 years earlier than this, Sharon Stone uncrossed her legs for the world to see in Basic Instinct. Written by a guy named Edward Neumeier, who wrote RoboCop for Verhoeven in 1987. He also wrote the incredibly titled, and I'm sure not good at all, Anaconda's Hunt for the Blood Orchid. Yeah, that sounds just like a sci-fi Saturday night for sure.
Mm-hmm.
This was written originally as a novel by a guy named Robert A. Heinlein in 1959. And it was very controversial during its time. A lot of racial, gender, and political content in the novel. And a lot of people criticized it as fascist.
Mm-hmm.
And if you watch the movie, Verhoeven always said the movie is supposed to be a satire on what the novel was saying. Who knows? Who knows? The movie was filmed between April and October of 1996 in California, South Dakota, and Wyoming. And there's a lot of scenes take place at the end on bug planets, and they're supposed to be these large rocky surface planets. That's mostly South Dakota. $105 million budget. That's crazy, man. This movie looks pretty fucking good, right?
Yeah, that's a lot of money back then too. I mean, I'm surprised that they got a budget approved for something like this for that high amount of money. I mean, because you can make some sci-fi movies with a half that budget and have them turn out good.
Yeah,
that's interesting.
Yep, it made $55 million in the U.S. So in the U.S., technically, this thing didn't do very well. It made
total failure.
Failure, yeah. In worldwide though, it did 121 million. So I guess people in other countries liked it more than we did. So the stars of this movie.
Shabuya roll call.
First of all, I want to explain something about this movie. It's that the main characters all come from Buenos Aires, Argentina.
Yes, they do.
And these are the least Latin kids of all fucking time.
Is it one? Maybe one.
Montego, what's going on with these are the whitest fucking Latin kids ever. What's happening here?
Dude, it was the 90s, man. And, it was all about who the big stars was and what Hollywood felt like they could sell, So they could, it had to be white, man. You couldn't have no brothers in there. Even Denzel's box office wasn't turning up in the 90s all like that, So, they brought in Casper Van Dien and stuff and, as Rico, Johnny Rico. And I mean, I love this movie, man, but that stuff, when I look at it, I'm like, wow, they just didn't give a shit. They rode 100 miles per hour in the wrong direction. And, a lot of stuff works, but they didn't even try. I mean, hell, Hollywood barely tries now, and when they do, it's an issue. It's like, it's a conversation and the internet nerds turn up to start trolling and, you guys are pandering to, diversity and stuff. So it's still a problem, man. So, they tried. That's all I can say.
If this movie was made today, you could never cast Casper Van Dien or Dine. Essentially his name is as white as he is.
Yes, you could.
You think so?
It just happened. It just happened with Scarlett Johansson. What's that?
Ghost? Ghost of the Shell?
Yeah, Ghost of the Shell, dude. It just happened. And they tried that little skirt to the side of trying to explain that, she was originally Asian, but they just did that shit. I mean, that was what, like 2-3 years ago?
Yeah. So I was going to say I feel like 2 or 3 years ago, they were still doing this. I feel like I'm not saying we've turned a corner totally, but I feel like it seems like it's more out in the front now.
Maybe you might be right. You might be right after the protests and all that stuff,
yeah.
And stuff. It may be a little harder to get away with that stuff. I see that they cast the Percy Jackson kids and, the female lead is black and the internet is losing their damn mind, It's just like, I don't get it, man, so who knows?
Yeah. Oh, so she's black, but she's not black in the books?
In the books, I don't even think it's mentioned. You know what I'm saying? Anybody's specific race and stuff like that, so. But, this is what happens, people just lose their mind, but it's cool. I find it comical and stuff. And, the people will overcome eventually, man. We will overcome.
So as you said, Casper Van Dien, plays Johnny Rico. He was in Sleepy Hollow and apparently I didn't see it. He was an Alita Battle Angel. Now I'm going to bring this up a couple times during this cast because these characters all play high school graduates that go into the military. Yeah. Casper Van Dien was 29 at the time of filming this movie.
Yeah. He looked at boy didn't look like he was 17 years old.
No. He's on this interstellar space football team. He looks like the fucking line coach more than he does.
All he needed was a vest and a tie and it was arms crossed on the side.
Fucking a space clipboard. Yeah, that's all he needed. Here's another thing about this movie. As Montego is doing the show, he's enjoying a nice a beverage. If you had to fucking drink every time someone said Johnny Rico, Johnny or Rico, you'd fucking die.
Ooh, you'll be a drunk bastard in this damn movie, man.
You'd be dead. Everybody, Johnny Rico, Johnny Rico, John Rico.
You're right. Man, that'd be a good drinking game. It's just anytime somebody says Rico, just you gotta do it. Wow.
You're dead by the 45-minute mark. I think your liver just turns to a piece of shit. All right, Denise Richards, who we all know from later on is a Real Housewife of whatever, and Charlie Sheen's wife at one point. Carmen Ibanez, another Latina. We all know her from Getting Dirty with what was her name? Nev Campbell in Wild Things and in Scary Movie 3. Dina Meyer, who I'm going to point out, also 29 years old, plays Dizzy Flores. She was in Saw and Star Trek Nemesis.
Dizzy did look like she was 102 years old in this movie, man. I'm sorry. She definitely had to be the oldest looking teenager in this whole movie, man. Certainly.
Absolutely. Oh, no, I'm not disagreeing that none of these, they all look it. But it's like Hollywood just didn't say, let's just hire some 18-year-olds. No, fuck it. We're getting Casper Van Dien. We're getting Dina Meyer. Neil Patrick Harris, of course, all the Harold and Kumar movies, and Doogie Howser. He plays Carl Jenkins. Carl is part of the friend group of these friends, and it's weird in this movie. It's like they bring it up only when it's necessary, but he's also psychic. Like there's no powers in this universe. Like everybody's a regular person, but there seems to be some people that have psychic abilities, and Carl is one of them. So
that seemed really wedged in, even, and no matter how many times I see this movie, that whole psychic angle just seems kind of was like
it's
in there.
It's literally only there for at the end when he communicates with the bug. That one scene. That's it. That's literally it for one line. Jake Busey, the son of Gary Busey, he plays Ace Levy. He was in The Frighteners and Enemy of the State. The guy's got the biggest mouth of all fucking time.
I love Jake Busey though.
I do too. I loved him in The Frighteners. I was a big fan of that movie, but my God, man, this guy's fucking mouth is insane. Clancy Brown.
My boy.
I love Clancy Brown, man.
I love Clancy Brown, man. I love his voice. I love his presence. The dude has to be one of the coolest white men that has ever stepped onto the stage, man. And what is he, incredible. Like 6'5" or something like that? He's gargantuan.
He is. I've told the story before, maybe on the show once, but 2 years ago, I live in Connecticut. I run a retail automotive parts store in Connecticut. A guy came in my store, baseball cap, just kind of scruffily dressed, gray beard, gray hair, comes up to the counter to ask me a question. I look up and I go, I say it to exactly, I go, "You're Clancy Brown." He goes,
"God damn."
He goes, "Yes, I am." And I did, I helped him with what he needed. He talked to me for like 5 or 6 minutes. He was incredibly fucking nice.
Mm-hmm.
And the thing I'll always remember is we talked a little bit about some of his stuff. And as he was leaving, he walked away. I was done. I was just kind of watching him. He stops at the end of the counter and he points to me and he goes, "See you in the movies." And I went,
see, that's what I'm talking about, man.
Yeah.
that's class right there, man. I'm not going to be too big to just be a normal person to somebody, man. That's great, man. That's an awesome story. I love it.
Yeah. He was a really cool guy. He plays, Sergeant Zim or Private Zim later in the movie. And you know him from Highlander, Shoot to Kill, some great stuff. The last guy I'll throw in there just because he's the last one in the 29 club is Patrick Muldoon. Patrick Muldoon plays Xander Barclow. Mm-hmm. Saved by the Bell and Melrose Place. He's probably best known, if you really think about it, as being the guy who stole Johnny Rico's girl and Zach Morris's girl. If you ever watched Saved by the Bell back in the day, he was the waiter at the Max that Kelly fell in love with. Oh, and when she was dating Zach. Yeah, I know. I'm saying a lot about my teenage years, but yes, I did watch Saved by the Bell back then.
I only saw that show a couple times.
Yeah, you're better off. Trust me, you're better off. So Montego, we'll get into we'll go through the movie in a bit, but I just wanted to ask you, does this movie right off the bat, especially 25 years after it came out, when you watch this, is it heavy-handed with the kind of militaristic fascist message that, a lot of people say that it's either satirizing or presenting, with all the little propaganda newsreels and all that? Does that work for you in terms of like storytelling technique?
Yeah, and it worked for me. When I first saw it, I wasn't sure what I was looking at. It took me a minute to catch up with the film after a while because it's so heavy-handed. But I think heavy-handed isn't even a strong enough word. It's like an anvil. And I think because it goes so hard with it, so hard that it becomes comical and you can laugh at it, but you still see exactly what they're doing. You know what I'm saying? And so
right.
it works so good. And yeah, it's beyond heavy-handed. But it's not annoying, because that's a fine line where, a director in a film could just push stuff at you so hard that you're just like, God damn, dude. All right, we get it. Date rape is wrong. Could you stop?
Right.
But with this, they keep it, it's always funny. And so I think it works so good. It's the damn commercials. I think it's like RoboCop. I live for the commercials. You know what I'm saying? Like, I can't wait till they do one of those, public service information announcement things. So yeah, it's definitely heavy-handed.
It's amazing that it works so well too, because 10 years earlier, Verhoeven did that same thing with the news breaks in RoboCop, but he did it just as well here, and it doesn't feel like he's biting off of himself. He's using a narrative, right? Like where he's saying, here's a quick way to set this world up, because you learn a ton in those little news breaks. You learn, and they kind of express upon it that, okay, so we're in this world where interstellar travel is a regular thing. We learn that there's this faraway star system with planets full of like these kind of smart arachnids and bugs that are, kind of like they have the ability to hurl their spore into space, and they have the ability to throw asteroids at Earth. Right? You learn all that stuff there.
Right. World building, big time
world building. And it's all just in that first couple minutes. And then you also learn things like, there's differences in this world, as there is in many places, between being a civilian and a citizen, and the importance of military. If you don't go into the military in this world, you're just a civilian, which means you have to get a license to have more than a couple kids, they say at one point.
Yeah. That's always an interesting concept, because basically, if you didn't go to the military, you're a piece of shit, right? But Johnny Rico's parents was super duper rich. And I was like, well, wait a minute. Check them out. They did all right with no military.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? So I always look at that because the pop is like, I ain't having it. You're cut off, And so it's just an interesting dynamic that's what's coveted the most. But there's always people that's going to make it work for them no matter what side of the fence they on. So I mean, it's really smart in the way it presents that, in my opinion.
So we kind of start off kind of like in an action sequence where it's this kind of first person camera involved, and we're on a planet, and it's a bunch of military soldiers fighting off these incredible looking arachnids and bugs. Mm-hmm. And we see Johnny Rico, although we don't even know who he is yet. He gets stabbed in the leg, and it appears that he's about to get killed. And then we get the classic 1 year prior that drops us back to 1 year prior. And we start to learn who these kids are. And they're in school, and they do all the regular school shit. Mm-hmm. They play space football. They fucking, in the worst uniforms ever, by the way. What the fuck? It was like the Tigers versus I don't know what the fuck.
I don't know. Yeah. Cause they did have stripes and stuff.
They make it very obvious in this world that men and women are not separated. There's Dizzy is on the football team. Yeah. When they shower, they all fucking shower together. So
yeah. That's why everybody had to be 29. It was like, next thing you know, you look it up and it's like titties everywhere. You're like, whoa, what's happening here? Goodness gracious. Oh my God.
That's a good way to put it. There were titties everywhere.
Titties everywhere in this movie.
And they're all having conversation, like, hey, where are you from? What are you doing? It's like, get me the fuck out of the shower.
Yeah. Look, you don't see these titties. You don't see these titties. I'm just going to keep talking to you. You don't see these titties. I'm sitting in the movie theater as a young man, like, I'm looking. Goodness gracious.
The threat of these bugs is always there. And Johnny Rico does what is the classic stupid guy move of all time. He joins the military for a fucking girl who,
yeah, he did.
By the way, could you be any more oblivious than Johnny and realize that Carmen does not really like him as much?
Oh, come on, John. You used to be there.
I know.
You was right there when you were 18 years old.
29.
You didn't know. He said 29. You would sit up there and be like, she loves me. I'll do anything for her. We might get married. Yeah, you were there. I was there. Yeah. All guys was there.
Because he says to her at one point when they're separating to go off onto their separate military journeys, she wants to be a pilot. He's going to join the infantry, and he hits her with the "I love you," and she hits him with the fucking just stares at him like, oh man, you had to sink a little bit, right?
No. She did say "I love you," but she said it through her teeth. She's like, "I love you." No,
she said it after he made her say it.
That's what I mean. Right.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
She didn't come back strong with it, but she was like, oh, you. It's like, dude. And he goes away like, oh, I got a girlfriend. It's so crazy. We've all been there. That scene was actually as real can. I mean, especially if you ever dated somebody who you thought was way out of your damn league. You know what I'm saying? And you're like, oh boy, that was me. Pick my face up, just looking like a damn fool in front of everybody. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
Well, no. Hey, say everything you got to say here, man. The thing that kills me in this movie, right? No matter whether she looks 102 years old or not, is like, fucking Johnny just wants nothing to do with Dizzy, man. And she's fucking hot as hell. Like she wants him, like she is the opposite of Carmen. She is so fucking geared onto him. And he wouldn't pour a bucket of water on her head if it was on fucking fire. What's up with that?
Yeah. Well, first of all, I was being silly when I said 102 because she is fine. Don't get me wrong. She's fine. She's the old MILF in the scene, But of course he didn't want her, man, because she's just like, I'm yours. It's just too easy for him, man. He's the football star, the jock, and he looks at her as one of the boys. He's seen her naked probably in the shower 17 times already during the football season. He ain't never seen Carmen because she don't play no sports. So she's just too easy. So it's not happening for him, man. And I have to admit, man, Carmen is a little bit finer than Dizzy to me, man. I mean, but Carmen's a piece of shit. So whatever.
All right, I'm going Dizzy over Carmen, but I get what you're saying. In the scene where they're doing the bug autopsies,
yeah.
Did you? I had forgotten about this. Did you catch who the teacher was in that scene?
I don't know who she was, but I remember her being all scarred up and stuff. Oh, she was she was from Golden Girls, right?
It's fucking Blanche from Golden Girls.
Yeah. She's show was Blanche. They had a great makeup job done on her, man. She still had the same hairdo from that time.
That's what I'm saying. She looked like Blanche, except she looked burned and with sunglasses on. Like, but it's just like, it's so weird when you identify someone with a role for so long. Yeah. And then they show up in a 2-minute role in fucking Starship Troopers. Like,
dude, it was completely unrecognizable in the way she talked, walked, and act. She was nothing like what you have seen her before on The Love Boat and Dukes of Hazzard and all the other dumb shit she might have been on. And, so I thought she played a really good role too. I mean, just being oblivious and the makeup just made the whole thing, she just was telling her thing. You assume she was in the military, right? That's why she's all beat up and stuff like that.
Right. All right. So then we also get one of his other teachers. I didn't mention him in the cast, but the great fucking Michael Ironside.
It's my number one boy in this movie, man.
He's awesome. What's his name? Rashbeck? Is it Rashbeck?
Ratchak's Roughnecks, yeah.
Mr. Ratchak's Roughnecks, which later on become Rico's Roughnecks. So he's a teacher in the beginning, and he's someone that Johnny looks up to. He's kind of giving him a sense of like what citizenship is about and what military existence is about. And then later in the movie, we find out that after like this invasion happens, that he goes back into the military and he becomes Johnny's commanding officer. That's a little bit later on, but so he gets a bunch of time in the movie as well. So they go off, they all go do their thing. Carl is extremely smart, on top of being psychic, and he gets, put right into, games and theory, which is essentially military intelligence. Carmen, is going to be a pilot, and Johnny and Dizzy, well, you find out later Dizzy came in because she joins because of Johnny. So it's a fucking chain of bullshit here.
Yeah. Johnny joins because of Carmen. Dizzy joins because of Rico, and they all going to die.
Yeah. Yeah. Spoiler, all these people are not going to come out of this alive, but right. So they all go in and we get the first bit of basic training. They go and they meet Sergeant Zim, played by Clancy Brown, and he's this he's a hard ass. What I like about this character is he's a hard ass drill instructor, but he's not a total fucking asshole. Like there's the scene where Johnny ends up getting flogged for getting someone killed on a live action training.
Not doing his job, right. Yeah.
Right. He doesn't do the correct thing, but like Zim gives him a bit to bite on because he knows, he's like, I've been there, dude. This is going to hurt. Use this. So he's not that I like that he's not that typical, staff sergeant, drill sergeant character that's just like, you're scum. Like he actually has a purpose and, he seems to be a pretty good dude.
Yeah, he's the hardest bastard that ever put on a military uniform. I mean, just the way like stabbing a dude in the hand and shit, and beating the hell out of people all crazy. But in that scene, you're right. He turns around, he's like, "I don't know, son. I've been there. I know." And it's just like, oh, they beat your ass when you was in this position too, And he gets 10 lashes or something, for murder, and then he can stay, but he decides to leave, and and goes, and he's going back. He talks to his pops and stuff like that, because at this point the girl, she broke up with him right over the comms and stuff.
he has the worst 2 days in his life in a row. Number one, he puts a videotape or a video disc in
with all his homies around.
With all his homies around, with everybody, like, you don't know, maybe she's going to take her top off. Like, watch this shit by yourself.
You got me right.
He puts it on in front of everybody, and she's like, oh, it's so beautiful here. And then, like, her tone changed. She's like, by the way,
you're fired.
You're fired from our relationship. Like, you know how you never got down here? You're never getting down here.
No, he got it. He got it prom night.
Oh, right. My dad is home. You're right. Yeah. So she basically dumps him, and all of his friends are like, "Fuck, dude! I wish you would watch this by yourself."
They were pretty cool about it, John. Because I think my fans would have like, like, "You sucker! We told you she was a bitch." But they was all like, "Ooh, let's just give him his time alone," and stuff like that. I was like, "That's pretty good. That's pretty good."
Give Rico some space. And then the next day, he goes into this live action firing exercise, and one of his guys under his command, because he's been given shift commander, he's having a problem with his helmet, and he takes his helmet off during this event, gives to Rico for Rico to look at, and he ends up getting shot in the head by another one of the privates who had fallen over, and her rifle went off. So in this, now Rico lost someone to death, and now you also see the young lady is leaving as well. And then Hank from Breaking Bad basically tells him, "You're going to get fucking whipped," because that's Hank from Breaking Bad. Yeah. Right. You could stay, but you got to get some corporal punishment. Rico does it, but he's like, "Fuck it. I'm calling mom and dad. I made a mistake. I'm going home." And just as he's about to go home, what happens, Montego?
So as he's walking out, which is a masterfully directed, as he's walking out, he's, they got the little sad music going, and all of a sudden people start running, you slightly, more. And he's like, "What the hell is going on?" And he's like, "The bugs hit us. We're at war." And so I love that scene though, because, he drops the bag, he goes back into the thing. I want in, and, old Zim, he does another cool thing. He tears up the damn thing. I don't see no order, get out of here. And I'm like, yeah, Zim's pretty cool. He's cool twice and stuff. And then he gets another moment to be cool again. And just to go back just for a second, I don't think that damn helmet would have kept Berkingers from getting killed at all, man. I think he got shot in the head. That thing would have went in that damn helmet. But anyway.
Yeah, no, I agree. That helmet was not stopping not stopping like a fucking machine gun round. No.
Not at all. So they're at war now, man. So now this time they about to ship everybody out. They can't F around with these kids no more, playing like they, so now they move to Act 2, which is essentially the beginning of the war, them going into action.
Yeah, they're going out, like, and we get everybody's little story. And time has also passed a bit, but they do a good job where they don't really tell you in the movie, but you see everybody moving forward a bit. Like Carmen is now like kind of like a hotshot pilot. She's paired up with Xander, the guy from earlier that she was attracted to, that kind of stole her away from Rico. And
that douche, he douches me out every time I see him.
Yeah.
Oh, I saw this girl, she's a little hard on the stick, Oh, get your ass. You don't go sit down somewhere, young man. Go ahead, man. I'm sorry.
No, man. No. Yeah, no, he's trying hard for sure. They're basically like the co-pilot team on like what looks like a fucking Star Destroyer. I don't know what it's their giant version of a transport ship.
Those are so cool, man. I love them big old ships, man.
Everything in this movie, technology wise, and I've seen this movie a bunch of times. I had not watched it in probably like 7 or 8 years.
Okay.
This time more than ever, this movie reminds me so much of Aliens. Like, but between like the uniforms that the Colonial Marines, the guns, and then just the idea of this like this en masse, mindless kind of fucking,
carnage, bro.
Yeah, total carnage.
Carnage. We were just like, whoo, Jesus, it's a lot of carnage, man.
They show a scene in the movie. I think it's during the the bit where Rico gets hurt and where they kill a bug, and it takes like 3 guys like just unloading their machine guns to kill one of these things. And then
how you gonna win against that? I don't know.
And then later on in the movie, there's a scene where they're in this old abandoned outpost, and like literally thousands are coming. Like, it's fucking hopeless, man. It's absolutely fucking hopeless. Like I would never want to think of myself as like a coward or a deserter, but I might be running the other fucking way. And you actually see several people in the movie do that. Like the girl, the girl who's in Rico's crew, the redhead, she starts to run and she falls through the floor and gets killed.
I love the general when he was like, "Oh God, you're not leaving." Dude, he is done with this shit, man.
Yeah. No. He saw a lot, and he's like, "Nah, I'm not doing this shit again. I can't do this shit again." All right, so Rico and all of them are going to be heading towards Klendathu, which is the bug home planet. Yep. The bugs through the war. By the way, they threw an asteroid at Earth, and it hit Buenos Aires, which is where the least Latin kids of all time are from. So that's what pushes them into action, and we kind of start to follow, this crew, Rico and Ace and Dizzy, and eventually they end up in a skirmish with the bugs that we see in the beginning, where like 9/10 of them get fucking killed.
Oh my God! Follow me!
Yeah,
that dude gets murdered.
Absolutely, like almost all the characters that you kind of like, the fringe characters that you get to know in the first like 20 minutes, they're all fucking gone.
Gone, just bam.
Right.
All the little smart mouth dude, the actual Latin kid that was actually in the movie.
The real Latin kid, right?
Yeah, so they all die, man, and the next thing you know, Rico wakes up in the back to tank.
He's in the back to tank.
With the leg on toe up and stuff.
That seems crazy because, like, look, I got to be honest. I'm claustrophobic, right? So when you see that scene in the movie, Johnny's floating in essentially a back to tank. He's underwater. It looks like he's in a giant thing of piss. Basically, he's got the scuba gear, in his mouth, and then you see like this, like, laser thing is etching his wounded leg back together. Meanwhile, real quick, I want to throw this out. Carmen thinks Johnny's been killed. So she thinks, because he accidentally was reported as killed in action. But he's in this tank, he's getting fixed. And the thing that kills me is that, Dizzy and Ace come over, knock on the tank, and tell him, "You only got 3 more days in there." I'm like, 3 more fucking days? And he's cool with it. He's like, no, cool, thumbs up. I'm like,
hey, he alive, man. He alive.
Man, I don't know.
I like the part though when Dizzy kisses the glass though. That's when your feelings for me in the movie started changing. Like, I think he made the wrong mistake.
Yeah.
He digging on the wrong chick. And I think Rico does that too at that point. He starts softening up to Dizzy at that point.
See, I wonder, I'll bring that up in a few minutes, because that was one scene in the movie that I felt, I'm going to bring it up now. Fuck it. That was one scene in the movie that I felt was a little bit pushed on us. So now we got these three left, and they get folded into a new brigade, right? It's Radcheck's Roughnecks, and it's Mr. Radcheck, the teacher. He brings them on. Everybody sees it that Johnny's like a natural leader, and he's a warrior. So like he kind of makes him like, one of his top guys. They're all going to go. And we also meet, by the way, I'm currently right now in real life, for the first time ever, I'm halfway through watching The Wire. And I never realized before that fucking that Sugar Watkins is Ellis from The Wire.
Yes, sir.
Yeah. So that was exciting. Like, I've seen this movie a million times. I never knew who this guy was.
He was super young, dude.
Super young, and yeah, he pops up, and I'm like, that's fucking Ellis Carver.
Yes, sir.
So after they have a couple of successful missions, they have a scene where they have like a party at night, and essentially Radcheck tells everybody, yeah, it's great. Like we fight hard, you die hard, but you know what? We're going to play hard too.
Yep.
Johnny's still pining for fucking Carmen, and Radcheck catches a moment where Dizzy like flirts with Johnny.
Yeah.
And he's just like, move along. He don't want something to do with it.
Yeah.
And then Radcheck comes over and is like, look, I'm going to tell you something. Don't pass up on a good thing. Johnny follows her and goes and dances with her. And from it just seems so forced, because he literally seems like he has suddenly fallen in love with her. You know what I mean? Like, you see what I'm saying?
Nah, see, I look at it totally different from that. You know, he's at the point right there. You know, back in your days when you was young, John, you might, you know, be at a place and just, you know, maybe have a couple drinks and you're like, why not? I think it was like, I mean, not a total like beer goggles things, but I think it was kind of like, why not, man? You know, we risking our lives. We about to die and stuff. You never know what's going to happen. That girl gone. Why not? And so I think he was like, why not? But it was even a better why not, because this was a good girl. It wasn't like she was some barfloozy. So I don't think that he caught major feelings for her at that point, but I think his feelings did soften for her a whole bunch, you know. And,
right.
Dude, it's time to get some. We in the military and we can get it on with the lieutenant's permission. Then let's go for it. So that's what I think happened. I don't think it was love for him. It was for love for her. You know, for sure.
No matter how hard Radcheck is, either he catches them kind of in bed together, and he's telling everybody we got to move out. You know, we got to be fucking wheels up in in 10 minutes. And he catches them in bed together, and he's like, "Make it 20." And then the thing that kills me is that Johnny looks at her and says, "We got 20. You think we could do it?" And I'm thinking to myself, "Motherfucker, I could do it 19 times in 20 minutes." Okay, I get it. You're Johnny Rico. You're only 29 years old. You're in good shape. But man, like when he says that, we got 20 minutes. I'm like, of course you got time. Make time.
We can do it. That's a good scene. That's a really, really good scene. I like it. I mean, this movie is full of stuff like that where it's just, you know, it's really heavy-handed in some instances, and then some instances it's really subtle, and it works. I mean, this movie, when I remember watching it originally, I was like, nobody's gonna like this movie. You know, after like the first 10 minutes, I was like, I'm the only one in here enjoying this, but nobody's gonna like it, man. And it did terrible. But go ahead.
It has developed. It's a classic, right? It's a classic. I saw on Twitter, you retweeted the thing I put out today about recording, and Joey from So Wizard, I think, said this is in his top 10 movies of all time. Mm-hmm. Ray from Gorilla Brain put it out there that that this is like top of his list as well. I think this is looked. I mean, I've always loved this movie. I think it's looked at very much differently than it was back then. Again, because
it aged like a fine wine. You're right.
Yeah,
yeah, and gained fandom as it went along. More than just cult status. Yeah, it's actually became respected, after it was, it's abysmal release. I'm sorry about that.
Nominated for Best Visual Effects at the 70th Oscars. And I think that's super important, because if the effects in this movie were wonky or didn't hold up to 2022, like there are movies that we like from back then, but like you're like, shit, man, that doesn't really look very good. And that kind of, that makes it a little bit of a sore subject. But this one doesn't. I watched this yesterday, and again, yes, I can tell this was not made in 2022, but like it still looks fucking good, right? It's like the original Star Wars. Yeah. I mean, yeah, you could now, because of knowledge of how stuff looks the way it does and how it operates. But no, man, unless you're trying to just like, see the stuff. No, this looks good, especially the mechanized stuff. Some of the bugs look a little, look a little, but they do a good job with the with the puppets, with the bugs, for the ones that's up close and things like that. And especially all the mechanized stuff, all that stuff look good. Them space scenes with the bombardments and things like that. This stuff looks great, man. Yeah, no, it definitely holds up. So they move on from this point to a outpost on, they call it Planet P. It's another bug planet, and there was a military outpost on there. And when they get there, just everybody's fucking gone. As you mentioned before, they find the crazed general. The actor is Marshall Bell, who played the guy that had in another Paul Verhoeven movie, Total Recall. He had Quato on his chest. Remember fucking Quato? He's like,
it was him.
Come here. Fucking Quato was all fucking sweaty looking, like
it's not coming all out of his mouth and his lips.
Fucking Quato had boogers across his face, and his little hands with like 2.5 fingers on him.
It was terrible, man. I wouldn't want that damn thing on my chest.
How fucking bad has it got to be to live with a fucking Quato? Do you have to feed Quato? Do you have to? Are you giving him fucking clam chowder? What are you doing?
Say goodbye to some women.
Yeah, really. That's an awkward conversation. It's like, hey, look, before we go back to your place, I got to explain something to you. I've got
brother. We gonna do a double team, but it's not what you think.
This isn't gonna be a London Bridge situation. It's gonna be a fucking, I'm gonna introduce you to Quato situation.
And who gets it? The big guy or the little guy?
Yeah, really.
Oh God. But we digress.
So they end up and basically he says that this was a fucking bloodbath, and he says a couple things, and we start to infer that the bugs are smarter than bugs, right? The bugs are smarter than bugs.
I like the dialogue in these scenes, man. You know, the bugs got us, Johnny. The bugs bit us. You know, I mean, the way the dialogue is really, really wonky, but it works. I mean, you know what I'm saying? Bugs set a trap, Johnny.
Yeah, it feels like an old fashioned war movie, like kind of like the dialogue. You know, Johnny Rico, half of his dialogue. You know, you want to live forever. It's all right out of a fucking out of an old war movie. So this is the part of the movie where we're introduced to the next big bug, this giant fucking beetle thing that shoots fucking, I don't know, fire acid, napalm out of. What did you think, Montego, of the scene where Johnny rides the bug?
It was great, man. You know, at first I thought I didn't know what was happening. I'm speaking when I first saw it. You know, they were treating Johnny like a piece of shit at this point, you know, and you knew he was cold, get back, punk. You know, that's how he was basically doing the 3 new recruits. And when he jumped on the bug, you know, and, you know, he threw the thing down and Carmen, you know, helped. I mean, not Carmen, but Dizzy, you know, helped. The one lady got burnt up. She was only in the movie for 5 seconds and stuff. And the bug blew up. And this movie does, like, all the bug goo is all over everybody. And they just sit there and they just like it's nothing, you know, like, yeah, we did it, you know. And I'm just like, oh God, you know, close your mouth. You know, you're talking and that shit is dripping everywhere. But I loved it. I thought it was a great scene.
You're absolutely right, man. Every time a bug gets fucking destroyed in this movie, there's a scene where Sugar Watkins is like shooting a bug on the ground and he keeps on getting covered. And I'm like, I could see being in war and being mad enough to do that. But I could also see like making sure my lips are like pursed, so closed, like
squint eyes.
Yeah. Like I'm going to put safety glasses on. I'm going to put a COVID mask on. Then I'm going to fucking terminate the bug. And then I'm going to pull everything off. So none of my orifices have possibly gotten goo inside of them.
That was the nastiest one you brought up right there. I mean, he really had gunk all over his face, man. He just was like so happy, had that crazed look of glee when he finished doing it. You're just like, oh God, wipe your face. Good to go to bed house. Oh, Jesus.
So they narrowly escape. Radcheck gets killed. He gets pulled under by another one of these bugs. And earlier in the scene, one of their guys gets picked up by like a fucking pterodactyl bug, and Radcheck takes a gun and shoots him in the head, and basically says, "I expect the same from any of you. Like we're not going to suffer. We're not going to get fucking, you know, we're not going to get whatever these fucking things do. It's not happening." And
unfortunately, that dude was suffering. I mean, he took his time shooting his ass. That guy was getting murdered up in that nest.
It did take a while. He definitely aimed really fucking specifically.
Yes, he did.
So Radcheck goes under, and Johnny Rico takes the gun. And he's like, pops him in the fucking chest. I would have popped him in the head, but he pops him in the fucking chest, puts him under, and then we get a rescue, and it's Carmen and fucking Xander again. Like, somehow these characters just keep on running to each other in this entire, like, skirmish.
Yeah, because they had to fight back at when they were getting tattoos, and then here we go again. You know, this is the third meeting between them, but now, you know, Rico had a field commission of a sergeant, right? And Dizzy got destroyed in that thing right before they jumped up on that ship.
Right.
And so Rico's all business now. He can give a damn about Carmen at this point in this movie. I mean, truly, until something else happened. But right now he can give a damn. You know, he's all of a sudden, he turned into Radcheck right there on the ship. You know, what does he say? We do the dying or something like that. The infantry does the dying, you know.
Flying,
yeah. So he's now Radcheck.
Yeah, and he gives the order to nuke the base, and he's the one in charge. And also, not to pass Dizzy. Dizzy gets killed right before the skirmish with the bugs ends, and she has maybe, I don't want to sound dumb, but like the most heartbreaking line to him is when she's dying and he's holding her, and she literally says like, it's okay because I got to have you. Like that's hard, man. That's you're gonna live with that for the fucking rest of your life, man. Someone says that shit.
And, you know, he basically did Carmen to her, you know, I love you too. He just looked at her, you know, like, okay.
He's like closing her eyes, and she's like, I'm not dead yet. He's like, okay, I gotta go.
Right.
Carmen's here.
It's pretty good. So Watkins survived that, right? And Ace survived those fights. So he has a new little, like, the crew changed. This is the third crew.
So they get out, and now at this point we find out there's a massive military movement. Something's happening.
They discovered that there was a military operation, and they was going back to the ship. So they go back to the ship, and they start having the funeral for Dizzy. So they had a funeral. Carl comes in, and we're going back to P because it's a brain bug on that damn planet. And so then now they have this a new operation going back to P. And so the Roughnecks are supposed to, lead the charge because that's what they do.
Lead the charge, go back to P, and capture, not kill, a brain bug.
Yeah.
Which they don't really explain, but it's essentially, we know that these bugs somehow are learning, and the brain bugs are the ones that seem to be able to disseminate.
Yeah, they found a dude with his big hole, and then he sticks his finger all in the dude's brain cavity and stuff. And this movie is just too much.
There's a lot of slime in this movie. Yeah,
it's a lot, dude. Bravo to the animatronics makeup team, because they're phenomenal in this dang old movie. And I'm not just saying that. I mean, they really, really are. You don't see anything like this hardly ever anymore.
Yeah, no. The amount of practical effects in this movie on top of CGI is something we're moving far away from. It's mostly all just CGI. So they go back down to P. Now, I am drawing a blank on this. How do Carmen and Xander get captured? So
what's going on is, so they're dropping the ships, but what happened is the intelligence people underestimate, like, how, those bombs, those mortar shots coming up from the planet, and the ships get destroyed. I mean, they start destroying those damn ships. So they're like, abandon ship. And the captain gets closed up in the door, and they jump Carmen and what's his name? Xander. They jump into the escape pod, and she's piloting, and they're going down. And then they, the planet is like hollow. So they go through those different cavities. So ships is falling from the sky, but our heroes, they make it down to the planet's surface and regroup, and they're starting to move. And as they start to move, Rico has a feeling, I think we should go this way. And his buddy Ace is like, dude, they kill you for going off mission. So he asks a volunteer. So Ace and Watkins, they decide to go with Rico, and everybody else is moving to the rally point. So next thing you know, Carmen's in the damn that cavity with Xander, and they get out, bugs surround them, and then the brain bug comes and kills Xander's ass and suck his brains out. And everybody's like in the movie theater is like, oh, but I'm sitting there like, now get her ass. Because at this point I was sick of Carmen.
Xander, before he dies, he passes her a fucking knife.
Yes.
And he gets it right through the top of the head. Another good effect, he's getting his brain sucked out, and then obviously it turns into like an animatronic and or a dummy, but it still looks good. Like the eyes are like fucking all white.
Turns into a prune right there, man. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's
So he's fucking dead. Thing goes for Carmen. Carmen cuts the hose thing off, like the little pincer that's gonna get her brain out, and that's when Johnny and fucking Sugar and Ace pop in, right?
Right, and he has the nuke, like talks to the bug, so you know exactly what this is. Boom. So they start moving back. As the brain bug gets clear, which wasn't enough time, but as it gets clear, they go for the attack, and your boy goes down, Watkins, like a old Western, just, leave me behind, and he's shooting the hell out of everything. He got the nuke. They get out of there and they blow that. Now, see, I don't know, man. I don't know. They didn't seem like they had enough time to get away from that damn blast from that nuclear bomb, man.
Boom, 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 boom. No. Those nuclear bombs blow everything the fuck up.
Right.
And like quickly. So they get out. We find out that a brain bug has been captured. Carl comes down, and again the psychic. This is where all the psychic stuff comes into play. Johnny says to Carl, he's like, "You told me where Carmen was, didn't you?" And he's like, "I might have pushed you in the right direction." And then this line here, I laugh at this line because it's simultaneously, I see why they're excited about it, but it's also kind of like, if you look at these bugs as just like animals that are maybe worried just about their planet, it's kind of sad when he Carl goes over and puts his hand on the bug, and what is it saying? And Carl goes, it's afraid, and everybody just goes, yeah. And I'm like, that's kind of sad, a little sad maybe. And we find out that the person that who captured him, Montego?
Old Private Zim, who gave up his commission as a sergeant. He caught the bug single-handedly, man. Zim did it, man. Zim caught the bug. I mean, some of them lines, man. But I like instantly when he sees Zim, Zim gives him all the respect as a commanding officer. He doesn't like, act like, oh, I could take that from you. He's all about the process and about, the hierarchy. That whole scene, I just love. The movie is great, man. I hate to gush over something like this. I mean, the movie is seriously flawed in a lot of ways, but it's so great in the ways that it excels that you don't even worry about the flaws that it has, like the wonky dialogue and, some of the things that you can see a mile away before they happen.
Right. The Zim thing is a great piece of writing because like an hour prior in the movie, the last time we see Zim, when the war breaks out, Zim says, I want to go. And his commanding officer says, the only way you go is by breaking yourself down to a private. And they leave it at that. And then the movie ends with that having happened. You never knew about it. And he's the fucking hero of the movie.
Well, yeah, you're right. Because no way in the world he's going to give up his sergeant, commission. No way. But yeah, he was about getting in that fight. He didn't want to sit up there and train recruits and stuff no more. So I thought you were right, man. That was fantastic, man. The whole movie is connected. All these characters from this one area,
And we get a final little newsreel that we're still looking for more soldiers, and it kind of ends on that same exact propaganda reel that it starts with at the beginning, where it shows Johnny Rico and his crew, and that Starship Troopers, man. It's a ton of fucking fun. It's an absolute ton of fun, and we're going to rate it in a second. Before we rate it, though, I do like to go through the top 10 box office of the weekend that this movie came out.
This country, you gotta make the money first.
A little bit of nostalgia, maybe see if some of this stuff kicks around in your head. So the weekend of November 7th through the 9th of 1997, the number 10 movie that weekend, it had been out for 3 weeks at that point. It made $2.1 million. Is Fairy Tale, A True Love Story. I don't know what the fuck that is.
Damn, I don't have no memory of that movie, dude.
Me neither. Wow. Me neither. Number 9, out for 6 weeks, 2.5 million. Kiss the Girls. That's Morgan Freeman.
Oh, yeah.
Right? Alex Cross. Number 8, it opened that weekend, $3.2 million. Eve's Bayou. I've heard of that. I don't know what that is.
Yeah, I remember what that was. I think LL Cool J was in that movie. It was a black movie,
Okay.
Yeah,
I know I've heard of it. I've heard of this one. Number 7, opened out for 5 weeks, 3.9 million. Mark Wahlberg and his 12-inch long dick, Boogie Nights.
Yeah. I never seen that movie. I never cared to see it. Yeah, I've always walked around it.
Number 6, another movie. I'm not sure what it is. Opened that weekend, $4.6 million. Mad City.
That was a cartoon movie.
Was that a cartoon movie?
That was like Cool World, one of those things.
Oh, okay. All right. Never saw that. Number 5, 2 weeks, 4.9 million. I looked this one up just because I was curious. It's a Richard Gere movie, Red Corner. Never saw that.
Ooh, that was a good movie. That was a good movie, man. That's a good drama right there. Yes, sir.
All right. I might put it on my list. Number 4, out for 4 weeks, 5.1 million. Keanu Reeves and Al Pacino, The Devil's Advocate.
That was the big daddy of the year. Everybody named Mama saw that movie right there, man.
Number 3, 4 weeks released, 6.5 million. I Know What You Did Last Summer.
Yeah, surprising hit right there. Nobody thought that movie was going to do nothing. It was surprisingly good.
The fucking Gorton's Fisherman's the killer in that one. Number 2, out for 4 weeks, 12.7 million. Bean. Remember Mr. Bean?
Yeah. I never cared for Mr. Bean, but I remember that was a phenomenon. People love those movies.
Number 2, man, and people did love it. And number 1, opening at $22 million, which turned out to be a little bit less than, it made a little bit more than half after that, so not much more. Starship Troopers. So Starship Troopers came out number 1 that weekend. That's a good thing. Now, Montego, before we jump into our ratings one more time, I want you to tell everybody out there all about Fans on Patrol, all about how often you come out, when you come out, and what you cover.
All right, man. So the way we come out is we're supposed to come out every Sunday. Sometimes stuff happens. But for the most part, over the last 7 years, we come out every Sunday. For everything Fans of Patrol, you can go to fansofpatrol.com. we have links to all of our social media and our podcasts and archive shows and things like that with show art and things. Even our Patreon, because we have a Patreon and we have links to our Patreon there. If you want to just go directly to any social media outlet, Fans of Patrol, we're a lot like this show, man. We talk nerd stuff and pop culture stuff, and we have a good time. It's the two of us, and from time to time we have a guest, and we just started doing videos, so we're on YouTube weekly now. So that's interesting. So I'm starting to enjoy it. But that's it, man.
All right, I'm going to sub to the YouTube channel. Is it the YouTube channel? Are you doing videos of the show, or are you just doing videos separate from the show?
We have I've done a bunch of unboxings for like sideshow collectibles, some commentaries for like Marvel shows. But what is primarily it's the show now. So it's the visual of the show, it's the video of the show, and it's a little bit different because of YouTube rules and stuff like that. But
right.
pretty much it's the thing. If you don't want to sit there and just listen to it, and you want to watch us, on your phone and TV, you can do that.
You gentlemen seen your midterm grades yet?
Well, they're not posted yet, sir.
I've seen them.
All right, perfect. All right, so here on so here on the Pint, we have a rating scale that goes like this. We do 0 to 5, 0 being the worst. This is the worst piece of shit I've ever seen. 5, oh my God, I love this thing. And quarter and half scale are usable. So, you can do 5 or 4.25, 4.75, 4.50, whatever you want to do. So I'll go first because I want you to go last. I want you to have the last word.
All right.
So Starship Troopers, 25th anniversary. I was psyched that you picked this. I wanted to see it again. I had not seen it in a while. Totally fun movie. Like you said, it's inventive. It's different. Even some of the stuff in it that might be a little wonky, like some of the dialogue, some of the performances, like, let's be honest, Denise Richards, maybe not the strongest actress of all time.
Mm-hmm.
But she also serves her purpose, of giving you an idea of why Johnny would be so starstruck and in love with her. But yeah, it all really comes out and works in the end.
Mm-hmm.
A 5 is always hard for me to give things. Like, I have a reserved line for 5s, but this is pretty fucking close. I'm going to go with a 4.50. I'm going to go with a 4.5 for Starship Troopers.
All right.
I think Paul Verhoeven, for, a while was on a tear, man. The guy made RoboCop in 87. He made Total Recall in 90. Basic Instinct for a lot of people is big. I never thought Basic Instinct was a great movie. I think it was more known for what it was known for, being like this kind of like sexual thriller than really being a good movie. But then after that, he comes back a few years later and makes this. And in all honesty, this is kind of like the last of his great movies. Yeah. After this, he made The Hollow Man, which was okay. And I think a couple other things in the 2000s, but he never really reached back to, the fucking guy made Showgirls. So yeah, let's not forget, actually 2 years before this, he made Showgirls. So that's not great, but so I'm going to go with a 4.5. Montego, what do you give, Starship Troopers?
I'm going to give, Starship Troopers a solid 4. My 5 is, normally, like ridiculous things that I can't handle. Like, I would give, Ben Affleck's The Accountant like a 5, because of how much intensity that it gets me involved. This movie gets me real intense. I love this movie. The gore, the wonky dialogue. It's damn near perfect, for what it is and what is to accomplish, because that's another thing you got to remember. What is this movie trying to do? Is it a sci-fi? Is it a horror? Is it a thriller? What it does is what it does. And it's a solid 4 for me.
All right. Perfect. All right. Well, thank you, dude. Thank you so much for coming on.
I appreciate it, man. I had a ball, man. You're so welcoming.
This is a lot of fun. I like to have great guests on like you and have a good time. And hopefully next time we get Tiff back on and tell her she was missed tonight. Hopefully she listens to this and we'll get her on at some point. So check out Fans on Patrol, I said it again. The Pint. You know where to find us.
Pint.
The Pint. It's going to take a little bit to get used to. This is the first episode I've ever recorded where we're using the new name. So
there you go.
So there you go. You're in on the ground floor. Go to patreon.com/The Pint and check us out. We have one level, $2.50 for all you listening out there. If you're not a part of it, we put out several episodes a month and we do all kinds of fun stuff on there. So please check that out. And just as kind of a reminder, because of the name change, it's going to take a couple days and maybe a week or so before everything starts to pop into the right spot. So remember, if you're looking for us, if you somehow lost us anyway, it's the Pint, a pop culture podcast, and you can find us very easily there. And if you can't find us there, go look at Pint of Comics on Google, and it will redirect you right now. It takes a little while for all that stuff to get unwinkified. So, all right. So for Montego, my name is John. This has been Pint of Comics.
It's over, Johnny. It's over!
Nothing is over! Nothing! You just don't turn it off!